I remember doing a video, it was maybe about this time last year, if I can find it I'll link to it in the description, where I asked what's a worse situation to be in when facing tyranny? Is it a situation where the population or enough of the population have been brainwashed into actually believing what they've been told, and then what would happen as a result of that? Or is a worse situation where the population know they're being lied to, yet they still comply even though they know it's wrong? Obviously both are bad, but I believe the second one is worse. And the reason that I'm asking this now is because for me, I can see and I can feel that many people, a significant majority now, they know that something's up. They might not know the full picture. None of us know the full picture, but they know that something's wrong. They know that something's very badly wrong. They know they're not being told the truth. Many indeed think they are being outright lied to. Yet, when I go to the shop, I went to the supermarket an hour or so ago, 100% of people were wearing masks. As you know, I'm exempt. But the point I'm trying to make is, do we have a situation now where, great, we've got the level of awareness required in the population, but we don't yet have enough people who are displaying the tiny bit, and it is only a tiny bit of courage to do what needs to be done, or should I say, to not do what they're being asked to do. So this is a worry for me. Now, I am getting the sense a lot of people are saying that, you know, people are waking up, the tide's turning. But I see it as the tide's only turning and people are only waking up in terms of awareness. I don't think enough are in terms of the actions that are required. And that's a big problem for me. And I'm interested to get your views on this. I genuinely think now that the number of people who are genuinely scared of a virus is pretty small, maybe below 10%. I think after so long now, people are looking around them and they're questioning, well, what? Where is this pandemic? So the number who are genuinely terrified, you know, I could say I feel sorry for them. I don't really. I just think it's pathetic, are small. The number who have been active, relentlessly active, spreading the message and doing those positive actions to provide social proof for others is about the same, 10%, I would suggest. And then you've got everybody else in between who are all at varying levels of awareness. But as I say, who are continuing to comply. I did a video yesterday aimed at those who are not just tolerating but propagating and enabling this disgusting, despicable evil, comparing them to the Nazi enablers. But these aren't the people I'm talking about in today's video. I'm trying to understand whether I might be right in my perception that yes, the awareness is there now, widespread awareness, but the courage required, the little bit of courage required on the part of individuals isn't there in great enough numbers. Something else that I would, that I would say is, it is apparent that from take for example the protests that take place in London, where, you know, there's been, I know it's difficult to pin numbers on it. We know that the mainstream media have lied about numbers because there haven't been 20, 30,000 cranks there. There've been between 500,000 and 2 million people. Now, if every one of those 500,000 and 2 million people, whatever it is, whatever number, very significant chunk of the population from all around the country have gone to demonstrations in London, you know, and other big cities, Manchester, I've been to ones in Liverpool and Edinburgh, significant proportion of the population, very passionate about, you know, freedom and right to choose, and then you look online as well, and you can see a real groundswell of people who are very, very outspoken. You know, YouTube videos such as mine, the podcast, Twitter, you just get a sense there are so many people now who are calling this out. So my question is, why is that not represented when I go into a supermarket? Why am I not seeing these people backing up by their actions what they are espousing on social media, for example? Why is that? So do we have a situation where we've got a lot of people talking the talk and not many of them walking the walk? Now, something else I want to say, this is a bit more positive, is that, and I've said this since the start, really, well, I've said this for a few months, is that, as we know, the mainstream media and their acolytes and their foot soldiers are trying their absolute best to turn one section of the population against the other. If you want to think of the two worst examples, I'll give you a publication and an individual who represent this movement that is utterly despicable and abhorrent. It will be the Guardian newspaper. Have a little look, any articles in the Guardian and what they do, how divisive and how rabid they are. And the individual I would use as an archetype of this would be James O'Brien, who's on LBC, and he is absolutely just fundamentally abhorrent, disgusting. All he tries to do is to sow division and to pigeonhole people and to sow discord in the population. The point I want to make is it's not working in this country. It's not working. That is genuinely my experience, because whilst obviously I've commented in this video about how weak the majority are, what hasn't happened is they've not turned on people like me, people like you, who, you know, have been standing up to do what's right. I've had very, very few examples of people challenging me for not wearing the mask. And, you know, whilst it has happened on 4 or 5 occasions, and I've made sure, you know, I've taken these tyrannical individuals to account, well, that means that 99.99% of the time it's not happened. I've not come under any pressure from a single person encouraging me, cajoling me, or outright coercing me to get the jab. That's not happened either. I see when I'm out in shops, I'm not getting dirty looks, I'm not getting challenged, people aren't looking down their noses, they're not jumping out the way of me, people wearing masks, they're chatting to me just as normal. And so what the media are trying to do, and obviously they've succeeded with a lot of what they've tried to do in terms of behavioural change, but in terms of attitude change, I don't think so. So I think now we have a situation where the awareness is there. There's serious questions around morality, of course, but when compared with the situation that we have in, I can name a couple of countries, and it's always difficult for me to comment on what's going on in other countries because all I have to rely on are like little video clips or second-hand evidence, whereas, you know, I can talk about what I'm seeing with my own eyes in my own country. But let's look at Austria and Germany, where there appears to me to have been a successful attempt at turning one section of the population, the vaccinated, against the unvaccinated. We can look at most of the European Union countries where, you know, that is backed up by the infrastructure in place via the vaccine passports. You can look at a country like Australia, which under the full yoke of totalitarianism now, seemingly. Now, are we fundamentally different in England? And I'm saying England because Scotland and Wales, I'm not quite sure what's going on in Northern Ireland, but Scotland and Wales, you know, the situation there seems to be somewhere between what we've got in England and in the European Union countries. So then the question is, are we fundamentally different as a population in England? And I think there's something in that. I think there's still a lingering respect for freedom and democracy and just leaving people alone. So they're my observations. The population, a subsection of the population isn't turning against another subsection of the population, despite media attempts to do so. awareness is growing, and some people obviously are perceiving that as the tide is turned, and the truth is, the torrent of truth is now coming out, and obviously we know the truth's been there in plain sight all along. It's just getting it to the masses. So the awareness is there, yes, but the courage isn't. You know, the conviction isn't, and that's the problem that I see. So that needs to change, doesn't it? It's all well and good being aware, but if you're aware and still complying, what does that make you? What does that make those people? And these are the people who are going to save society, who are going to rescue us from tyranny and preserve our world. Well, not preserve our world, but open the door to greater freedom, which we will cherish then. The people who are key to that actually aren't the likes of me. They're probably not the likes of you if you're watching this video. They are in that quiet majority. Know something's up, and they're just carrying on anyway. They are the ones who save us. So they're my observations. I always say it based on what I actually see with my eyes and what I hear with my ears. So, you know, in my world, what am I perceiving? And that's what I'm perceiving. So please do let me know. There's a bit of optimism and a bit of pessimism in this video, but I'd really like to, you to tell me whether you agree with what I'm saying, whether my percentages are accurate or the wildly off, whether you agree or disagree with me, and how optimistic, or hopeful, or fearful and pessimistic you are. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks very much. Bye bye.